Hello everyone, Agent X007 here. In this video I will show you how to install Windows 10 on NVMe drive. So the first thing that you need to do is create a pen drive that's compatible with installation in UEFI mode. To do this you can do it many different ways. However, in this video I will show you only one of them. So I'm using MediaCreationTool from Microsoft, a basic tool that downloads latest Windows from Microsoft servers directly and prepares either an ISO or USB pen drive for you. So when you download it, I'm using the 1909 version, as you can see. It's easy to use and the most basic of the basics to get this done. So after you accept the license agreements and it thinks for a bit, you get to choose if you want to do USB, so create a USB pen drive for installation, or upgrade your PC. Upgrade is not an option if you have Windows Vista or 32-bit Windows and you want to do 64-bit, it will not work. So I recommend that you create an installation media and install it fresh, unless you want to copy the Windows you have with any other backup tool that you need. But for this video I will show you how to install it. So back on topic. You can change language, you can change the type of Windows if you have this, of course, and 64 and 32 bits or both. I'm using only 64 bits because you don't need 32-bit, I think, Windows on NVMe drive, but that's me maybe. Okay, so when you go to next step, you can choose if you want to do an ISO file, so file with image of the installer itself, or if you want to do complete pen drive so that you can use it as is. This is a good option if you want to use a Rufus or other software that specializes in creating pen drives or other media like DVD or CDs with installers. You have you have better options that way. Okay, I want to create it with USB, so I click next, and this is my pen drive, ESD, and when I click next it deletes the files, reformats the drive, and creates it and finishes it, and that's that. So I already created it. This is my my pen drive with Windows installer created just as you saw, and I can close this. And when this step is done, you can do restart. Go to the BIOS of your motherboard and do few things to tweak stuff. This is my BIOS, of course. So what we have is pretty advanced stuff. You go to boot, in my case. In your motherboard it can be something else, and search for CSM module, this right here. Now this module is needed to support the older older stuff like Windows XP and Windows 7 and other non-NVMe compatible Windows by default or stock, and it's recommended that you disable this. However, you may not be able to do that if your GPU isn't UEFI compatible, or if the BIOS on your card isn't UEFI compatible. You can do this also with CSM enabled. You simply have to switch those options from Legacy only, if you have this set, to UEFI and Legacy, or UEFI only. That way you can bypass this issue with CSM being disabled, and you still can use NVMe drives. Now, other options that you may want to select is boot from storage devices, and switch that from Legacy only to both Legacy and UEFI, with UEFI support first. That way, when you copy Windows files on NVMe drive, UEFI BIOS will detect it and let you select it under the boot menu. Okay, that's that. Now we can save and exit. And now go back to BIOS again and switch one thing. Now you can boot select either via those options right there on the bottom, or there's also those buttons. So boot menu, and within this list there are a few things that you want to note. Now this is my NVMe drive. As you can see, it's seen as Windows Boot Manager because I already have Windows on it, but I will format it, and it doesn't matter. Now what you want to do most is select your pen drive with UEFI option. So this one right here. If you pick the other one, you won't be able to install Windows 10 on NVMe drive. You will get error that Windows can't be installed because the drive is MBR and not GPT. And if you switch it to GPT, you may then get the error that it's not possible to install this on this drive because it cannot boot from it. So yeah, it's something like an infinite loop basically. So don't do that. Use UEFI pen drive. UEFI and name of your pen drive or flash drive or whatever you have. Okay, now we want to do next and install. I don't have a product key. We go with Windows 10 Pro. Accept and custom. Now there are multiple partitions of this on this PC, so I will delete all of the UEFI all of the NVMe partitions, so that you can know that I'm not doing anything other than this. So delete, 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 and this is our drive. Now we go create new partition. Yes, you can do whatever you want with it, and there we go. Our partitions are created, and we select the primary partition for the Windows to have. Now we simply click next, and the files and everything is copying and installing on it. This will take a while. I will unpause the video just in a bit. Pro tip for everyone that doesn't want Windows to force you into Microsoft account: unplug the internet connection. When you do it, Windows will automatically switch to local account, and you don't ever be bothered with Microsoft account creation on anything that resembles it even. Okay, now that Windows is installed on the NVMe, we can switch to it on the list of the booting list. So we go to Advanced again, Boot Devices, and we scroll to BBS Properties. Now, as you can see, our drive isn't here because it's listed here as PATA SS. We don't select it here. We select it right here as Windows Boot Manager with our NVMe drive. With NVMe drive name. So this is our first option for boot. Now here we have our SATA good RAM that I used as my previous Windows, and the UEFI generic for the USB. Okay, now when that's selected, we can go back to here, and I will show you how it looks. So if everything went according to plan, you get this Windows Boot Manager option right at the bottom with the name of the NVMe. Okay, let's save and reset. In this case it doesn't matter because it's still it still was on the first option. And there we go. I'm not sure if you can see the LED from the adapter I'm using, because this is clearly X79 platform, so it does not support N.2 port. However, I'm using simply clever trick like this adapter right here. This is one type of the adapter I have. I'm also in possession of something a bit bigger. There you go. Now this adapter is also for SATA types of M.2 drives, but I'm not using that in this on this build. Okay, now back to the Windows. I have to say it's not really complicated, but it can be if your board does not support NVMe booting. Now I'm using a BIOS that's modded with NVMe support and bifurcation support and latest microcode support, or microcode added for the CPU. So yeah, pretty much best there is. If you don't know how to do it, I recommend checking on Google if there isn't a BIOS that supports your card or NVMe booting. Okay, let's be standard one. No internet, no way. I didn't know. Now there is this small option right here at the bottom, so we click that and again continue with limited setup, and there we go, local account. So I type my, and no, I don't need a password, and no, decline, I don't want assistance, I don't need it, and we simply disable all of those and accept, and hello, there we go. Now it will take a bit for the Windows to get everything done, and after that's ready, Windows will work just as intended. Now the last thing I want to check after the installation completes is a simple thing of simple action, not disabling but turning off the SATA drive, because there is a slight chance that Windows may create a boot file on the SATA drive instead of the NVMe one, and when that happens, when you disable the SATA drive because you don't need it, or you think you don't need it, you may not be able to boot into your Windows, so on the NVMe. So yeah, check that before formatting your drive. That's my top tip for you. Okay, we are done, I think. Yes. Okay, we can check for some benchmarks. So I connect Windows. Here you go. Yes, you detected the LAN works. Awesome. And no, I don't give a damn that you want something to do. Okay, let's go with this, and let's go with SSD, and yeah, let's get with this one. Yes, great. Download mirror. Save and open. Oh, I need to extract the benchmark first. Okay, now that's that done. I believe he will try to install the graphics drivers. Okay, so let's do this a bit. This I don't need, this I don't need. Okay, now we can disable LAN again because we don't need it. I unchecked the options to make Windows bar a bit more friendly. Yes, I want to run this. Yes. Now let's see how it shows on the performance. Okay, it's idling. Great. Okay. Start the test. I am using default NVMe storage driver, so the performance is as is. The CPU itself is PCIe 3.0 compatible, so that shouldn't be an issue. I may be PCIe limited on the link? I don't think so though. Interesting. Well, either way works basically, because those numbers aren't possible on SATA drive. So yeah. Okay, the drive works, so let's do the one last thing I wanted to do. So, oh, you are kidding me. I just want to restart. Oh, not restart the, okay. So I don't recommend this, but let's disconnect the SATA. Okay, and there you go. Still works. No issues. So yeah, I disconnected my SATA drive and it still works, so that should give you idea that yeah, it's possible and it works. So maybe we try again. Let's try again. Maybe now it will work better. A bit higher score, but still, yeah. Okay, this is only a 128GB NVMe drive. It's really not that fast, but it's still way faster than SATA 3. So yeah. Okay, this is it basically. I hope you guys now know how to install Windows on NVMe drive. And if you have any questions, you can write them in comment section. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one.